Hello and welcome to another episode of Time About the Movies Flashback. We're finally heading into July of 1988, July 29th to be exact, and we got three movies to look at today, so let's go ahead and get right to it. And we'll start off with easily the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Tom Cruise in Cocktail.
Pictures presents Tom Cruise.
Now what was it that you ordered? A martini. What's in that?
They thought he was good. They were wrong. He was the best. Tom Cruise. Cocktail. Rated R.
By the way, the Georgia Satellites version of the Hippie Hippie Shake is the version to listen to. But I digress. Cocktail is based off of a book by the writer, this Haywood Gould, who's actually written a couple movies that we've talked about in the past. Certainly not the better films he's made. One Good Cop, Trial by Jury. Not very good films. But this is basically, you have the story here of Tom Cruise. He's a New York City business student who takes up bartending in order to make ends meet. And that's pretty much all the plot of the movie. I mean, you also have Brian Brown, who plays his kind of the guy that shows him the ropes, and Elizabeth Shue's the love interest. This was Tom Cruise coming off of the successful year he had in 1986 with The Color of Money and, of course, Top Gun. This did not get good reviews when this came out. This was actually heavily panned by a lot of people. In fact, I think Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel put it on the worst of 1988 list. But is it really that bad? No, not really. I mean, it's not a great film, I will say. It's definitely a film that wants to showcase a lot of over-the-top stuff. I mean, like, any bartender that does any of this stuff here would be fired immediately. This is like the equivalent of when Conan O'Brien was a bartender and he just wanted to try to create all these different ways of serving up drinks and all that because it looks pretty cool. And yeah, it looks pretty cool, but any bartender that does this in real life would get fired immediately. And in fact, a lot of the people who made this movie have pretty much said that, yeah, this wasn't what we wanted to make with this. The writer Haywood Gould said that, and even Tom Cruise himself said it's not the crowning jewel in his career, which, I don't know. I mean, it's funny, I was about to name some bad Tom Cruise movies that would probably be even worse than this, but no, maybe he has a point here. This is probably one of his worst films in general, but at the same time, it's not a bad movie. It's not the worst movie. It just doesn't really have a plot to work with here. I mean, you basically just have... It's like Disney saw this and said, what if we did Top Gun, except we want to put it in a bar? Like, what if we did maybe they kind of saw The Color of Money the same way. Like, hey, what if we did The Hustler, except it's like Top Gun, and instead of it being about airplanes, it's about billiards and like I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking that too much, but I feel like that's what they were trying to do with this particular film. If we're being honest here, the movie isn't memorable, but the soundtrack is amazing. Like, the soundtrack really is the best thing about the movie. I mean, like I said, you know, the Hippie Hippie Shake is one of the most amazing things you will ever listen to. I mean, this is and you also have, of course, how can you forget the Beach Boys' Kokomo? I mean, talk about a classic song from this movie. That's the reason why this movie has had a lasting legacy, mostly because of that song, which, believe it or not, that music video that they did for this, A, has John Stamos doing the drums, but B, was actually filmed just before the Grand Floridian Resort in Disney World opened up. It actually was filmed at Disney World when the Grand Floridian was still under construction. I've noticed that for the history books, But yeah, the soundtrack really is the best thing about the movie. It's the one thing everybody takes away from it. But the movie itself is, I'm not going to say it's a really bad movie. It may be the worst Tom Cruise movie he's made, but I don't know. To say it's really, really bad, I'm not going to go that far, but it's kind of a guilty pleasure. I'll go with that. I mean, it is very much an over-the-top movie. It's a ridiculous movie, but at the same time, it has that charm to it that kind of makes you... Like, you can't really look away from it. It is, like I said, it's a guilty pleasure movie, and I think it works because of that. And, hey, people bought into it. It was a massive hit when it came out, and critically, completely contradicting myself. Financially, it was a success. Critically, no, not so much. And you could definitely see why. Not a great movie, but fun for what it is. Like, it's basically the 80s equivalent to something like a Coyote Ugly, except I would rather watch this than Coyote Ugly again the more I think about it. But yeah, that's Cocktail for you. So let's go ahead and get to some movies get to a movie that was trying to be good, trying to be over the top ridiculous, and pretty much failed on every level. And that is, of course, Monkey Shines.
Once there was a man whose prison was a chair. The man had a monkey. They made the strangest pair.
Jeff, what is it?
The monkey ruled the man. It climbed inside his head.
Stop it!
And now, as fate would have it, one of them is dead. Monkey Shines, an experiment in fear. Rated R. Starts Friday, July 29th at a theater near you.
Okay, maybe Bad Movie is another bad example for this particular film. Monkey Shines is not really an overall bad film, but it's definitely not a great film either. I mean, the trailer for that looks pretty cool. It actually does look pretty cool, but I don't know, kind of the end there when they give the monkey the red evil eyes. I thought that was a little bit too much, but as you can pretty much tell from that, this is a story about a young athlete who becomes paralyzed. He becomes a quadriplegic and develops a bond with this intelligent service monkey named Ella, who becomes homicidal after she's injected with an experimental serum of human brain tissue. And, yeah, it's definitely a very interesting concept in general. In fact, the movie was heavily praised because of the philosophical... It's toy boat? The philosophical... I cannot say this word. Philosophical. It was praised for the philosophical... It was praised for its portrayal of philosophical themes, which you could definitely see in here. You could tell George A. Romero was trying to do something unique and different because he had just come off of, the Day of the Dead movies, which was basically what he was known for up to that point. I mean, most people knew him for that, but also his other works as well: Creepshow, Night Riders, The Crazies. This was kind of the start of the beginning of his somewhat downfall. I mean, this was the last movie that I remember having any kind of impact in terms of his legacy, because the movies he made after this, like Two Evil Eyes, The Dark Half, stuff we've talked about on the other show, did not hold up well. This one has some good ideas to it, but it just kind of goes into some kind of predictable territory. And the scenes where the monkey kills people really aren't as intimidating as they should be. I feel like there should have been so much more to that. And I just didn't feel like it was there. It was just kind of boring, really, the more I think about it. It's a movie that really should have had a lot more to it with an idea like this, which is a really good idea. But then again, there might have been some studio interference as well because of the fact that this is an Orion Pictures release, and you had to work within the studio and what they wanted to do with it. And I feel like that was what was missing from this movie in particular. But it's a good idea, but just not the right execution overall. I mean, it was Romero's first major studio film, and he was told to do what he said, and it was actually his second most expensive film at the time, following, I believe, maybe Day of the Dead, I think. It was actually Creepshow, which was about $1 million more at $8 million, but not really surprising, but this was a film that I feel like didn't really live up to what Romero probably would have wanted to do with it, and again, not a bad idea, just not the right execution overall. And I feel like it was a major misfire, unfortunately. Despite a really good premise, some good ideas in general, it was a real letdown of a film, honestly. But let's go ahead and move on to the last film we have here, and that is The New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking.
They're coming for you! The police, the fire engine, everyone!
When this kid takes on the town,
Boy, that Pippi has really done it this time.
she turns it totally upside down. She's a daring delight
I'm walking on a ceiling!
and a master of flight, full of surprises and great with disguises. The most magical kid you've ever met. The New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking, rated G. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
It's actually the second time we've covered a Pippi Longstocking movie on either one of these shows. This was the live-action movie. We talked about the animated one from 98 or 97. I can't remember. I think it was 97. After her father's ship is carted off by a sudden storm, the spunky Pippi Longstocking is stranded with her horse Alfonso and monkey Mr. Nilsson, and takes up residence in the old family home, which is thought by neighborhood children to be haunted. Soon, two children, Tommy and Annika, venture into the house only to meet up with Pippi. They soon become friends and get into various adventures together, including cleaning the floors with scrubbing shoes, dodging the splunks, going down a river in barrels, and helping Pippi with the problem of having to go to her children's home. Sounds like the same premise as the animated film from the 90s. Not even original, but notable names in here. Dennis Dugan, who I think I said the last time I talked about this, he directed this film. He did not. He actually started it because he did some starring roles before he eventually became the director that we know for his work with Adam Sandler. Dick Van Patten is also in the film as well. Eileen Brennan is in this film. Frank Welker and Michael Bell, who are prolific voice actors, are in this. As far as I know, the movie itself, I don't remember too much about it. I remember watching it as a kid back in the day, but when it was on the Disney Channel a lot, but I don't really remember too much about it, honestly, so I don't really know for certain if it holds up well over time. I mean, it looks like it could be a fun kid's adventure, but other than that, though, that's really all I know about this film, honestly. I don't really know if it's anything too great or spectacular, but I think it looks like a fun adventure for kids overall. I mean, I grew up with it when it was on Disney Channel and HBO, but other than that, though, like I said, I haven't seen it in a while, so I can't really say if it's any good or not. So, just my quick thoughts on that one. The New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking. So, with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies Flashback. When we meet next time, we'll take a look at 5 more movies, including Midnight Run with Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin, Pee Wee Herman returning to the big screen and Big Top Pee Wee, Caddyshack 2, Mr. North, and Pascal's Island. Pascali's Island. So 5 films to look at next time around. We'll look at those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the place on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next week. And until then, as always, take care.